Hey guys. Okay, so this lesson is going to be on communication. We're going to look at communication styles. We're going to look at passive, aggressive, and assertive communication. So based off me saying those titles, passive, aggressive, and assertive communication, which ones do you guys think is the best form of communication? Okay, you can pause the video and then guess. So I'm going to tell you the best form of communication is assertive communication. But before I explain what that is, I'm going to explain to you what passive communication is first, aggressive communication, and then assertive. And we're going to do examples of each so you can have an idea, okay? So passive communication is that's a type of communication that the person puts other people's needs and wants before them. So they put it at their own expense. They want to give in to other people's needs. I call it people pleasing. Want to give in to other people's needs, but don't consider themselves. Okay, so they don't express how they feel, what they need. They don't stand up for themselves. Most people that display passive communication are normally soft-spoken or they're shy. They're taken advantage of because they allow people to take advantage of them because they don't want to argue or fight. They always put other people's needs above their own. And if you notice people that are shy, they lack eye contact. They look down, look to their feet, they fidget and do things like that. Or they lack the confidence that they need to express themselves. Okay? The next form of communication is aggressive communication. So aggressive communication, the person expresses their own needs, their feelings, and what matters to them, but they totally ignore the other person and how they feel. Okay? People that are aggressive with their communication, they get frustrated easily, they speak loud, and they're very overbearing. They're unwilling to compromise, meaning looking at a way to share responsibility or, try to understand the other person's side, and maybe, agree to meet somewhere in the middle instead of going all this way or that way. They don't know how, they just don't want to compromise. They don't know how to do that. They're unwilling to do that. They use criticism. They humiliate people and they dominate the conversation, and they frequently interrupt the person and they don't listen, because listening is a skill. So that's gonna be another lesson we talk about, active listening, how that's a whole skill. It's a whole process to that too, okay? And they're typically disrespectful towards others. So when you're aggressive, you're loud, you're disrespectful, you don't listen, my way or the highway, no compromise, okay? Assertive communication, which is the communication that we want to use when we're communicating at all times, okay? It's the most effective form of communication. But like I said, all these are skills. Some things work with some people and some things don't. But it don't mean that you shouldn't practice this type of communication because other people don't know how to engage in it, okay? So assertive communication emphasizes the importance of both people's needs, okay? So during assertive communication, the person stand up for what their needs and wants are, their feelings, but they also listen and respect the other person's needs. So assertiveness is defined by confidence and willingness to compromise. So the two main features of assertiveness is confidence and the willingness to compromise, to come to a middle ground. We might not fully agree with what I want. We might not fully agree with the other person want, but we're going to find some middle ground and compromise to make it okay for both of us. And that is a very hard thing to do, especially if it's something that you feel passionate about or you're angry or upset about. You kind of just want it how you want it when you want it, especially when you feel quote unquote that you're right about a situation. Okay. Now, person that's assertive, they listen without interrupting. So they let the person say everything that's on their mind without interrupting, so they get the complete thought out. They clearly state what they want and need. It's clear. They don't say, oh, you should have known this, or I shouldn't have to say this. They directly say it. You describe whatever it is that you're wanting or need at the time. There's a willingness to compromise. When a person asks a question, they're not giving in to the person, but they say, well, I may not can let you borrow my car, for example, but if you want, I can drop you off to that person's house when I'm on my way to work. They might do something like that, like offer a compromise. They stand up for their own rights. Like they know when to say no, when they have to put their foot down or set boundaries. So just because a person compromising doesn't make them a pushover. You know what I'm saying? Like they know if somebody's pushing the boundaries or, trying to get their way, they know how to set boundaries and stand up for themselves. They know how to say no, or I'm sorry, I can't do this right now. They're confident in their body language and their tone of voice is an even tone and not yelling, but they're not quiet and shy either. Okay. So it's a good even tone voice. and they maintain good eye contact, because eye contact is a form of communication. Like the way you look at a person, the way your tone of voice is, you not looking at a person, all that is communication. It's not verbal communication, but it's cues in the body to kind of give you an idea of what's on a person's mind or how they feeling about you. Okay, so that's the definition. So we went through passive, soft-spoken person, kind of pushover; aggressive, loud, get easily frustrated, kind of always trying to intimidate people and make them feel bad, no compromise. And then we got assertive communication, which is the good communication, so to speak. That's where you listen to a person without interrupting them. You let people complete their thought, because that makes people feel good to get what they're trying to say off their chest. But then you clearly define your needs and your wants, that you don't suppress that. And then you have a willingness to compromise. You can meet them in the middle, but at the same time, you know how to set boundaries when you have to. I can say no, or I'm sorry, I can't do this. And you maintain your tone, eye contact, to show that you're confident. Okay? So now that you have the definitions, let's give some examples. So here's a scenario. All right? A friend asks to borrow your car. This will be very inconvenient for you. What would the passive person do? The passive person might say, yeah, I guess that's fine. But do you want me to fill a tank up? Just offer more. Just keep offering more. Just people pleasing. See? So aggressive person will say, no way. Why would I let you borrow my car? You crazy to even ask me that question. That's aggressive. And then assertive, which is the one we want to be. I need my car on that day, but I'll have time to drop you off. See? So it's like they're saying, I'm acknowledging what they need. I want to help, and I can compromise. If they need to get somewhere, I can drop them off, but I'm not going to let them have my car. See the difference? So Fred asks to borrow the car is inconvenient. It's not really convenient for you at the time. You're not going to just say yes just because you're trying to people please and you mess yourself up and you can't go to work. But you're not going to be aggressive and mean just for no apparent reason. But you just kind of say, well, I got something to do on that day. I need my car, but you need me to drop you off somewhere. So that's more compromise, but it's not like giving in, and it's not being overly upset. Okay, now let's practice. So that's one example. So now I want you guys to practice. So as I do one practice thing, pause it and just think about what you would say as an assertive response. Assertive, not passive, not shy and not standing up for yourself, not aggressive, not angry and just not compromising at all, but assertive, that middle ground where you can compromise, but you can set boundaries too. Okay, so here's the scenario. Your partner says, I know you have plans for the weekend, but I really need you to watch the kids. I have a friend coming to town and we made plans. So pause this video and think of a way that you would respond to your partner in a assertive way. So assertive, you listen without interruption. You clearly state what you want and what you need. You have a willingness to compromise, but at the same time, you're going to stand up for your own rights. You're confident in your tone, your body language, and you have good eye contact. So what would you say in that situation? Okay. Another scenario, if that one doesn't fit, another situation is you just received your food at a restaurant and it was prepared incorrectly. It's not what you ordered. Your sandwich seems to have extra mayo instead of no mayo. Give me an example of you communicating to the waiter or waitress in an assertive way, not angrily, not aggressively, not passively, just taking it. What would you say? So in a good rule of thumb, when you're doing this, is this method called dear man. Well, dear is right now. That's the first part. We're not going to do the man part. So describe, D is for describe, the scenario and what it is that you're trying to express. I can't think of the other acronyms. I hate when I do that. Hold on, let me see. Dear man, let me get that for you real quick. I don't want to say it wrong. Like I have it in my head, but I have it a little. Dear man acronym. Here we go. And dear man is like acronym that they use in dialectical behavior therapy, which we call DBT. And the method, basically, you describe. Hold on one second. I'm going to tell you exactly what it is. Describe the current situation. So I ordered such and such. I ordered a sandwich with no mayo, but it has mayo on it, and just stick to the facts. Don't add emotions and stuff in it. Express your feelings. So you can express your opinion about the situation or your feelings about the situation, but don't assume that the other person know how you felt. So don't be like, I thought I told you it was no, you didn't hear me when I say that. You know what I'm saying? You can say, so you describe the situation, you express like you know, that maybe you're allergic to mail. The reason why I can't have mail is because I'm allergic, so I'm not trying to be difficult. You know what I'm saying? Just keep it simple. You assert yourself, that's the A, by being clear on what you're saying. If you know, just being real clear about what it is that you're saying. Remember that other people can't read your mind, so you might think that people know what you're talking about, but they don't. Or you might think somebody can understand something, but they don't. You know what I'm saying? People don't know people's personal preferences or why something was done. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes people just overlook things, so just don't assume the worst. And then you reinforce, which is the reward. So you explain the positive effects of what you need. So that's what DEAR stands for. Dear man, but we do that man part later. Man stands for, M is being mindful, A is appearing confidence, and then N is negotiating. But that's not important now. The first part is the DEAR part, which is describe, express, assert, and then reinforce. So just remember those concepts. So remember, you're just going to describe what's going on. You're going to express, you know, why you feel that way or what your concern is. And then you're going to like assert yourself, like, you know, can you please correct it, or can you please take the sandwich back? And then you reinforce. And, you know, reinforce could be a thank you after they did, or I really appreciate you doing that because I have allergies, like explaining it, but not backing down from something. If somebody give you something that's not what you want, and let's say you can't eat it for medical reasons, you have to explain that. So that's what you look at. So make sure you're real clear with what you're describing as far as your concern. Make sure that you are expressing yourself, asserting yourself, and reinforcing, okay? All right, so that's the first thing. So I'm going to leave it there for now, and we'll continue this lesson later. Thank you guys for watching.